Welcome everyone. This is Bōde's Edmonton real estate market update for October 2021. I'm going to quickly show you what's happening in Edmonton at a macro level, and then I'm going to show you where you can find all the data for your specific property type and your neighborhood so that you can see all of the supply, demand, and pricing trends for your community. So let's dive right in. So first thing I'm going to look at here is for the greater Edmonton area, all residential listings and the new listings that have come to market each month for the last 4 years. So you can see, except for this COVID period here when the pandemic first hit, all these years tend to follow the same pattern. More listings in spring and summer and fewer listings towards the end of the year. And if you look at the bright blue line, which is 2021, you can see earlier in the year there was more listings than you would typically see in a normal year. And now we're kind of coming back down to about closer to typical listing levels. So in September, listings were up 10% versus the average of the previous 3 Septembers. So that's what's happening with new listings. And then if we look at sales, so this is demand, the number of homes sold each month, you can see sales was up a huge percentage amount earlier in the year, more than double the typical monthly sales at some points in the year. And now, again, that started to come back down towards a more typical year as well, but still up. So sales are up 24% in September versus the average of the previous 3 Septembers. So sales are still strong, even if they're not quite as strong as they were earlier in the year. And the number of new listings is higher, but not proportionately quite as high as the number of sales. So what that means is overall inventory, i.e. the total number of homes for sale right now in the greater Edmonton area, is down about 13% against where it would typically be for this time of year. So fewer homes for sale in general by about 13%. And if we take a look at months of supply, so this is looking at how long it would take to sell through all of those homes at the current rate of sales. Months of supply has been very, very low this year. It's starting to come back up higher now, but still this would be considered low months of supply versus a typical year. So months of supply, the lower it is, the more beneficial it is for sellers. The higher the number of months of supply, the more beneficial it is for buyers. So as you can imagine, if there's not very many homes for sale and homes are selling quite quickly, that benefits sellers, and the opposite would benefit buyers. So right now, it's one of the better times in recent years to be a seller. So that's what's happening with supply and demand. Let's take a look at what's happening with prices. So here we've got the home price index going all the way back to January 2005, where the index started at 100. Since then, you can see it went up very quickly, and it's been went up a little bit more slowly for a period of years. In 2021, there has been a pretty big increase in the home price index here. But as you can see in these last few months, it's turned a corner and prices have started a little bit nudging downwards again. So back to the price levels we saw in 2014, 2015, which is great news, but just in the last couple of months, starting to head back downwards a little bit. But this picture will look very different depending on your community and depending on what kind of home you have. If it's a detached home versus apartments, the dynamics here are very different. So you can check out all of those dynamics for yourself, for your own community, over on our website, bode.ca. And here you have free access to all the data you could possibly need to keep a track of what's happening in your local market. So we've got one tool called Market Data, where you can see all of what's on the market and what's sold by community, so you can understand the supply and demand dynamics in your neighborhood. And you can also see trends in pricing in your neighborhood. We also have a tool called Sold Data, where you can see the sold price of any home that's sold in Alberta in the last 11 years. So you want to find out what your neighbor's home sold for, you can head on over to that tool. And the final tool we have is called Comparables. Here you can enter a few features of your home, and we'll show you the most comparable live listings and the most comparable recently sold listings and the sold prices for those homes. So between these 3 tools, you've got incredible access to find out exactly what's happening in the market around you. You can check all of that out for free on bode.ca, and we'll see you again next month.